Good morning. Hi, Anne. Good morning. Give me one sec. I don't think I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, great. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. But great to see you. I'm just getting us set up and we'll get started in just a moment. But if you'd like to grab a few props for this practice, it's going to be a really gentle practice. Oh, there we go. I hear you now. Good morning.
It told me what to do. Then you'll unmute everybody. So yeah, you'll mute everybody.
Yeah. All right. So that sounds good. Okay. So we are live, and what would be great to have with you are all right, I think we're set up. So I have a couple blankets. You can grab a couple towels if that would be good for you. That's just going to be part of our props to help us melt into each pose. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Restorative Yoga. This is an active relaxation yoga class. And so for those that are unfamiliar, we'll get started in just a couple minutes. But before we do, I will point out some props that I have behind me. These are everyday things that you should have at home or that you have handy. So the whole practice is meant to be very accessible, whether you're practicing from home or whenever we all meet at the studio again. But with that, for today's class, so like I said, I have a couple blankets here, and you can either get blankets or towels. Towels tend to be a little bit sturdier, so if you want to grab like a towel or two, we'll be incorporating that into our practice. And a couple other things that I have. Pillows. So these are just the pillows that I have on my bed. And so this is going to help us with a little bit of support with one or two of the postures that we'll be moving into. And the last thing I want to point out is for today's class, it'd be great if you have a block or some sort of firm piece, whether that be like a phone book or a block, or even just a really thick book if you have that. So with that, we'll be using this in one of our poses as well. And so I see some people moving in, and I will give you another minute to grab your items. And then for those that are ready, let's just begin by meeting in a comfortable seated position. So that's how we'll get started. Again, I'll give it another moment or two for others to join as well. But again, if it's your first time joining a restorative yoga or your first class with Crenshaw Yoga and Dance, welcome. Great to have you. And yeah, like I said, the props that you'd want to have with you for today's class is a block or some kind of just firm support for you. Have a blanket or two, or maybe even a towel. We'll wrap those and give us a little bit more support. And then the last item is pillows. So I have two because these tend to be a little bit soft. So I've just brought two for an additional extra layer of support. But with that, wherever you are, in your home, in your space, let's just start by bringing ourselves into a nice, comfortable seated position. Maybe bringing our eyes closed or find yourself in a soft gaze. And then just using this as an opportunity to start breathing in and out through your nose. And with each breath in, start to take a gentle scan of how everything is feeling for you this morning. What might be a little bit open already, what might be a little bit tight, and then where you feel yourself carrying a little bit of pressure, even without realizing it. Take a couple more breaths at your own pace. And for those where this is the first restorative class that you're doing, like I said earlier, this is a active relaxation yoga class. And so what that means is with each pose that we move into, we'll stay in that just a little bit longer so that our bodies actually have a chance to feel how each pose evolves when we stay in one posture. So this is going to be a little bit slower pace than the typical stretch yoga class if you've done it. But with that, it's meant to bring a little bit more awareness as well. Okay, and so if you're ready for the first pose that we'll be doing, it's called supported child's pose. So with that, opening up your eyes ever so gently, let's grab a block if that can help. Well, we can either have, so here's a couple suggestions. You can have a block, and then if you want to put your pillows on top of that block, that'll just give you some additional firm support, some like elevated support here. So I'll show you two different ways in which you can move into this. So pillows, for those that are familiar, will come up into all fours and then shift in child's pose. So uncrossing our feet, knees are open by our side. And if you want, even bringing your pillows closer to you, so closer to your core. So just so that when you're folding over on your hips, you're actually folding on top and there's no gap in between the prop and your belly. And so with this, whenever you're ready, you can place your hands to the side, each side of your pillows. And as you exhale, just gently coming on down, allowing yourself to completely melt in this pose. And so with that, your head is maybe looking in one direction. And then just start to ease into this pose. And like I said, with this one, with restorative, we hold each pose for just a little bit longer. So I'll be sure to cue you when we come out of it. But if you're here, let's really start to melt into this pose, right? So eyes closed perhaps. And then start to tune into a little bit how it's feeling. Maybe there's a little bit of pressure just coming off the shoulder, just rolling off the shoulders, moving through the arms, maybe just trickling out through the fingers. And then staying here for just a few moments. So like I said, it'll be minimal instruction because the goal of this is for you to really feel how each posture feels in your body and in your space the longer you are with it. And then last one for those without the pillows, if you're using blankets instead. So here's just an opportunity to bring those blankets down on the ground. Maybe you want to, or with the towels, just to roll it up a little bit so there's a little bit more of a support. Same thing like we did with the pillows, just bring that close to your core. And then exhale as you gently start to come on down. So pillows or blankets or towels, whichever option feels good for you. And then just letting yourself melt completely into this position. And notice too how the energy is rolling off from your back. Maybe your back feels open just a little bit more with each inhale. And then as you exhale, maybe you're able to deepen just a little bit more. Just feel how it's rolling off down the arms, through the fingers. If you haven't yet, feel free to turn your head in the other direction so that the other cheek is now resting on top of your prop. And notice how it feels on this other side. So maybe there's a little bit more of a release happening with the neck now that you're shifting in the other direction. Your eyes are shifting in the other direction, or your head is shifting in the other direction. Again, here, just paying attention to your breath as you inhale, where you're able to make some room. And as you exhale, what happens when you're able to deepen that just a little bit? Maybe with each round of breath, there's a new sensation that you're feeling coming through in this pose for you. And so take a nice inhale, filling the back, filling the ribs. Exhale, letting it out through the mouth, through your nose. And then on your next inhale, let's press our hands down on the ground to help support us as we bring our upper body back up off our mat or off our props. So we'll shift it here. We'll keep the props where they are, whether that's the blankets or the towels that you were using or the pillows. And this time we'll shift onto our seated bones. So sitting on our butt, we're going to bring our legs to one side. So calling this a supported spinal twist here. So with that, again, bringing the blankets or the pillows or the towels closer to you. What you'd like to do is have your legs on one side. So for now, let's keep your legs on the right side. And then same thing like we were doing earlier. So this time around, I'm actually going to use a block to bring myself up just a little bit. But again, yogi's choice, whatever feels good for you in this restorative practice. So putting the blocks there, then putting the blankets on top. And then we can adjust to as we move through this. But with this one, so as you exhale, you want to bring your hands down to the sides. And again, simply bringing the props closer to your core, to your belly. And that way, when you do exhale on down, you're able to fold down. So coming on down, same deal, just resting here and allowing yourself to melt into this. So with this here, the spinal twist is happening, but really gentle, and it's allowing this right side to first open. You might feel a little bit more opening happening on the left side of the ribs as you're resting through. And so with that, keeping it here for you. And again, if you want to modify your props so that instead of blankets, you're using pillows, we can do that also. So grabbing a pillow, maybe grabbing two, depending how soft or how firm they are. And then as you adjust, just exhale and come on down to the, there we go. This one feels a bit better for me. So again, modify as you need for yogi. And then with that too, just noticing the hips. If you want a little bit of support on the bottom hip as well, you can grab one of the blankets that you had earlier. Just push this Put it below where the hip is gonna land. And then just exhale again, just coming on down. So same deal here, your arms are by your side, or you can even extend them out just a little bit. Whatever feels good to help you start opening the space. So bring this down just a little bit more. Okay, so exhale, coming on down. Supported spinal twist here. Your legs are positioned to the right side. Just keeping it here, eyes closed if that feels good for you. Coming on down, just spinal twist here. And so for those just joining, as you're sitting, you're having your legs on the right side of you. Your core, your body, your upper body is resting on top of your cushions or whatever props you have. Arms are to your sides. Just notice how this is helping to open up the side here. Side ribs, lower back, just opening that space up. And with the next breath, placing your hands on the ground. So we'll be switching sides. Just firmly placing your hands on the ground to help you bring your upper body up. And we'll switch positions. So this time bringing your legs over to your left side. So I'm just gonna switch sides so it's easier to see. But for you, I'm at home, you can just switch, bringing your legs over to the left side. Position your body here, again, keeping the props close to your hip or close to your core, so that it's easy for you when you place your hands down to exhale gently and then just start to melt into your support. So like I said, I'm just gonna switch over to the other side so it's easy to see at home. But again, if you want to add the block on the bottom to give you a little bit more elevated support, if that helps you, then you place pillows or towels on top. And then the last thing, if you want to add a towel or a blanket to where you'll be seating so that your hip has a little bit of support, if that's good for you. So again, legs on our knees, bent knees on the left side, hands on either side of your props, your pillow. And then as you exhale, just come on, melt on down, bring the upper body over, head looking on one side. And allow yourself to melt into this. just notice how this side feels. So your next inhale, just take a nice breath in through the nose. Maybe noticing where there's a little bit more space now, a little bit more opening. And as you exhale, just notice yourself melts completely, falling over and just really coming into being with your support. And then whenever you're ready, let's press our hands down on the mat or on the ground to help inhale our way back up. Coming back into a seated position here. Shifting, we'll be moving into a back opening. And so with that, you can take the props off. If you have a blanket or a towel, this would be really good to bring over. And so with this too, with the towel, we can either just roll it. So if you roll it, you're giving yourself just a little bit of support here. And so then you can either keep the blanket if you've had it already and you want to keep a little bit more support, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can move that off the mat as well. And what we'll do is shift ourselves into nice posture on our back. So we'll be lying on our back. And so with that, we're going to have the blanket that's rolled up or the towel that's rolled up just hit just right below the shoulder blades. So that'll really help create a really nice chest and collarbone opening here. So with that, whenever you're ready, and again, if you want to have just an extra cushion below your knees as well, let's just do that too. So if you want to have that handy or just set that up proactively, you can put that below the knees. And you might need to scooch a little bit to adjust, but as you're ready, just lower yourself down onto your mat. And then allowing yourself to, again, have that rolled up blanket or towel fall just underneath the shoulder blades on your back. And then allow yourself to drop down And just open out your arms, just splay out your arms. So your chest is right above your chest, and it's really just the shoulder blades that are being supported with the blanket. And then just open out your arms here. So really allowing yourself to feel that openness happening in the collarbones, the chest area. And then as you melt into it, extend your arms out so they're displayed by your side. And here, hopefully you're starting to feel a really nice release of any tension or of any just kind of tenseness in the muscles, the relaxation happening in the ribs right below the shoulders. Staying there for a few moments. And again, with this one, noticing how the posture feels, how this pose feels as we stay with it. So if this feels okay for you, you can stay here. If you'd like to incorporate the legs a little bit and open them up to butterfly, you can also do that to bring the bottoms of your feet together. You start to splay open your knees. And if you need a little bit of support with the lower back, so you feel it coming up, you can grab a blanket if you have, or an extra towel, and then just bring that underneath so that the lower back has a little bit of support. And that way you still have your rolled up blanket or towel underneath your shoulder blades, right where the ribs are, helping to open that up. You have a blanket or a towel underneath your lower back to give you a little bit of support here. And then last, if you want something for your knees as well. So if you have a blocks, or if you have blocks or the pillows that you were using earlier, and you just want to put one on each side of the knee so that where they fall, you have a little bit of a support, you're welcome to do that. So just completely melting into this one. Again, maybe with butterfly or with the knees opened up. Just supported butterfly here. Butterfly and chest opening here. And if your gaze was looking on one side or to the left side, taking a moment to inhale and then exhale as you shift your gaze over to the right side or the opposite side in which you were looking at. And on your next inhale, let's take a full breath in, allowing yourself to feel where the openness happened as you were allowing yourself to feel various uh, the various movements of this pose as you stayed in it longer. And then exhale, just letting yourself melt just a little bit longer. On the next inhale, if your knees are open, let's use your hands to just place on your thighs to help close up the legs. You can place your feet on the ground and then rolling over to actually just inhale your hips up so that way you can remove the rolled up towel that was underneath. So removing that from your shoulders, allowing your upper body to come down. And this time here, you can either have the blanket again. We'll put it beneath our pelvis this time, or if you want to grab the block. So if you need to just prop yourself up, just roll on over to one side first, placing your hands down to help you come back in a supported transition. Grab the block if you have that, and we'll keep it handy first. So let's place it on the side so that when we do roll back down, we'll be able to grab it with our hands. So again, just placing ourselves back down. So knees down first, arms coming down as we log roll down back onto our shoulders and onto our back. And this is where we'll do a supported bridge. So with this, being able to grab your block now, so your knees are bent, your feet are planted on the ground. So reaching your fingers down to make sure they graze the backs of your heels ever so gently, or just, right there accessible. Your legs are maybe hip width apart, so planting there, if that feels okay for you. And then again, the block, or even just like a rolled up towel or blanket, whatever you have accessible, start to inhale the hips up. That way there's a little bit of that space underneath right here with your lower back and where your hips are. And then grab that block if you have that. And so with the block, you'll have different levels. So yogi's choice, you choose what feels good for you, but we can always start at the very bottom one, right? So the lowest support level, bringing us down, so making sure our pelvis comes down, resting on top of the block. And if this feels good, just allow yourself to kind of feel into this, right? So supported bridge. So what we're trying to accomplish here is really allowing this to be a release for your hips. So if your hips feel good on the block, keep it there and just open up your arms, open up your hands to support you right there. And again, just notice how this feels with the block underneath. If this is okay, and maybe you want to try a higher level with the block, you can bring it to the middle level here, the middle elevation. So here, again, same thing, making sure your pelvis feels good on the block and it's supported. And that way there's not a lot of weight happening on your feet. Your neck is straight. You're, keeping your head looking up at the ceiling. And then you're letting your arm just lay by your side. So here, supporting the neck, making sure our face is gazing up, and then you can close your eyes if you want to do that. Otherwise, yeah, just noticing that release happening in the pelvis area, just releasing that stress there. And then again, if you have a blanket or a towel instead, I'll show you how that one goes. So I'm just going to move that block if you're already in it. Melt into this pose as it feels good for you. For those with a blanket or a towel, again, similar thing like we did with the previous version where we just rolled it up. So roll it up, giving yourself a little bit of support here. And then as you inhale, lifting the hips up, lifting the pelvis up, you bring your blanket or the towel underneath to where the pelvis and the hips would fall. And then you just allow yourself to get comfortable in this spot. And there's a soft cushion here, but there's a little bit of an elevation happening. And then allow yourself to open the arms out and melt into this variation. You can also bring your knees to touch. So maybe if you want to open your feet just a little bit more so your knees can come together. Yogi's choice to do that too. Keeping your neck neutral, keeping your forehead soft, your jaws soft. Taking an inhale, letting it exhale through the mouth. On your next inhale, let's bring the hips up so that we can bring the support below out of the way. Next one, we're staying on our back, transitioning to a supine twist. So with this one, let's extend our right leg down straight on the floor. And if you have your blanket or the block nearby, let's bring it actually to our right side. So we'll keep the block if you want, or the blanket with a towel, we'll put on the right side. And so what we'll do, we'll extend the left arm out to the side, to the left side. We'll bend in, actually let's hug in the left knee first. Using both hands, you could do that. Really nice hug here. Get a sense of that stretch happening in the hamstrings, maybe a little bit in the thigh. And then with that, let's extend the left hand out to the left side. We'll use the right hand to guide the left knee over as we twist over to our right side. And so with this, the left knee is resting above the prop that you have. So if that's the blanket, if that's the block, it's there just to give a little bit more support. So again, I'm just showing here with the left knee on top of my rolled up blanket. The left arm is extended to the side. Both shoulders are touching the ground. So opening the chest here, lengthening and opening that side core here, that supine twist. And then with the right hand, extending it out to the right side. So both your gaze and your right hands are extending past and looking over at your right side. And so if you need a little bit more support underneath that right knee, or sorry, underneath that left knee, go ahead and maybe grab the block if you have that, maybe bring it up to the higher position or that mid-level position, or, you know, just bring up that towel that you have and maybe fold it once more so that it can just give you a little bit more support. So this is a more supported variation than what we normally do when it comes to the supine twist here. And similar with this one, just like the other poses, allowing ourselves to melt into this with each round of breath, noticing what feels just a little bit different, and then exhale, letting it out. And then as this pose evolves, as you breathe and as your body acclimates to it, feel free to, adjust as you need. Maybe when it comes to that cushion below the knee, or maybe just lowering the way that the knee is bent just a little bit more. So whatever feels good for you. Whatever allows you to really get to know this pose and the way that your body is responding to it. And we'll hold it here for just a few moments more. Okay, so whenever you're ready to come out of this one, gently roll back onto your side, allowing your left leg to follow, that left knee to follow as you bring them back up, placing your foot on the ground, your left foot on the ground, repositioning your back and your hips if you need to, extending that left leg down, hugging in the right knee. Give yourself a nice hug here. And a gentle stretch happening in the hamstring on the right side. And then similar to what we did, so I'm actually going to switch around on my mat, but you stay put so that it's just easier to see. Yeah, you're on your back. You have your right knee hugged in. And this time, let's bring the prop that we had over to our left side. So if you were using a rolled up blanket, let's bring that blanket over to the right side. So that way, as we keep our knee hugged in, we extend the right arm out. And then we use the left hand to guide our right knee over for a spinal twist happening on the left side. So again, with this, same like the other side, we have both shoulders resting on the ground. This time around, our right hand is extended out to the right side. Once the right knee is placed on whatever prop you have, you're welcome to extend the left arm out to its side, taking your gaze along with it. So supine spinal twist happening on the left side for us now. And a reminder, if your knee needs a little bit more support, if you have that rolled up blanket, you can always fold it and then roll it too, so that you have a little bit more support here. Your next inhale, filling the body, filling the breath. And then as you exhale, just releasing that out, maybe through the mouth. Really nice exhale. The next inhale, start to bring your body back. So twisting back onto your back, bring the right leg back down, extending the right leg out, straightening both legs. Let's inhale up both arms up overhead. It's like a nice full body stretch right here. Pedal out the feet, maybe rotate the wrist. And then for one moment here, let's inhale. Let's bring in our knees. So bend the knees, hug them in, wrap our arms around our knees. Give ourselves a nice warm wrapped hug here. Coming on down. Let's grab the bottoms of our feet to open it for child's pose for just a moment here. Maybe sway side to side on your hip, or on your back. I'm sorry, I have a gentle back massage here. Swaying side to side. And then whenever you're ready, bring the feet together, bringing the knees together. Bring the feet back down on the mat. And then extending the legs out to prepare for Savasana. So yogi's choice how you'd like to do in Savasana, whether you'd like to just remain in corpse pose, or if you'd like to grab one of your blankets or your towel, and then you can even put it underneath your knees for a little bit of a restorative support here. So whatever feels good for you. Yogi's choice when it comes to Savasana. So really allowing yourself to melt into this one. If you have another blanket or a towel nearby, you're also welcome to Just place it gently over your eyes or maybe just over your forehead. That could just generate a really nice release when it comes to just letting things melt off and just kind of roll off the side. So if you want, again, just placing a blanket or a towel, just that towel edge or that blanket edge over the eyes and just, or maybe even just on the forehead, whatever feels good for you. And hopefully you're just feeling a little bit of a release happening as it just helps push and pull and release some of that tension that's just happening in that area of the body. With your next breath, start to bring some awareness back to your body. You take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Take another inhale whenever you're ready and inhale the arms up overhead. Take a nice full body stretch again. And stretch out the arms, stretch out the legs. Nice inhale here. Exhale that out again. And then whenever you're ready, rolling over to one side. Take a moment here to plant your hands down. And then whenever you're ready, pressing your hands down on the mat so that you can bring yourself back up to a nice seated position. If you want to grab one of your blankets or a towel to help bring your hips just a little bit higher, or your pelvis just a little bit higher, you're welcome to do so. And then either keeping your gaze soft or keeping your eyes still closed. Just taking a moment to feel how you're doing. Just like we did at the beginning of the class, take a gentle scan. Notice if there's a little bit more openness, if there's a little bit more lightness to the way you're seated. And then on your next inhale, let's breathe the hands up. So inhale the arms up, palms a touch overhead. We exhale it down, bringing the thumbs to the chest and grazing ever so gently. Taking an inhale here and taking a moment to find what we have gratitude for this morning. Right, what brings us to our practice this morning and what we feel really good about. On the next inhale, let's bring the arms out. Bring the palms up, hands to touch, and again, exhale, coming on down. Coming out of prayer, thumbs grazing the chest just a little bit more again. And then with this one, just feeling ourselves relax and really just ease into how we're feeling right now, right? Grateful that we showed up for ourselves, giving ourselves this practice. And then once more together, let's inhale the arms up. Palms to touch. Exhale, coming on down. Thumbs gracing the chest as we meet each other in prayer position. And here, tilting the chin in gently. Being so grateful that we have this community to share with each other and to be with each other. So with that, may the light in me see the light in you. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you same time, same place next week. Take care. Be safe.